It was like, that's why drugs are good.
I want to start this.
Oh, we haven't? I love
we
it.
go ahead?
Let's start this.
Oh, we can. I mean, it doesn't
We
matter.
need to have like a candlelight or something. Laura's.
Welcome to What We Thought Would Happen. We are so lucky to have this brilliant comic, actor, disaster specialist, just born on the San Andreas Fault and living life through no fault of his own. Here he is, the beautiful, sexy, and talented Paul Danke.
Thank you for having me. What a great intro.
That was great. I love it.
And Daniel, this is still because, Daniel and I have our ongoing friendship. I'm so happy to see Daniel, no matter what. And then to have Paul here too. It's like a great rainy day. You guys didn't, okay, because Paul's from here, out here, and you are from Texas. You never had snow days.
No, we did, but there was no snow on the ground.
Oh, really?
You would miss school and watch the fucking Addams Family and like Different Strokes without a drop of like any kind of anything. It would just be cold.
But so was there an announcement?
People just got scared at the concept of ice on the road. That they would shut the fucking schools down.
It's dangerous.
Yeah, thinking about it is dangerous. So yeah, I did though, but I didn't.
We didn't have snow days down here, but we would occasionally have smog days where you couldn't take recess outside because the air quality was so terrible. Fontana is like a very industrial kind of area. It used to have like steel mills and oil refineries and everything. And the sky had this horrifying color. This like murky, yellowy brown. And if you got up in the morning when it was still all foggy, you could taste the air.
Oh my God.
It was like
terrible.
batteries. It was so bad.
Acrid.
So is it near Pomona? I don't know where the f*** anything is.
It's out east.
Okay.
You drive through it. There's now a NASCAR track there. You drive through it when you're going out to like Palm Springs.
Okay. Because I remember going to Pomona and being stunned because the smog like stays like at your knees. It's like you're walking through. Yeah.
Isn't Pomona where they used to have orange groves and now they have the only living orange grove left and it's like the size of this table?
Oh hell, I don't know.
Yeah, that's even when I lived in Fontana, there was a lot of grapevines, tons and tons of grapevines, and now. Where that was is an IKEA, and everything around us was beautiful, just like long rows of vegetation. And now all that's like whenever I drive back, I'm like, I was so mad when my parents moved, but I totally get why they were like, get us the out of here.
Well, because it becomes like Texas is a huge space, and so the sprawl has a lot of ways to go, but the sprawl, it's like a weird computer program or like an animation background, you know what I mean, where they just loop the same thing, where it's like, oh, we could eat at that Applebee's or that Applebee's or that Applebee's or that, you know what I mean? It's like continuous, or like that Best Buy, should we get it at this Best Buy or that Best Buy? It all blurs together.
That's
but there was an earthquake in Fontana like a week ago.
Like you said, I was born on the San Andreas Fault, and I just still love earthquakes so much. When they hit hard, I go, ooh, yes. Oh, there's an earthquake in Japan. I'm like, oh, of course, because we're all on the Ring of Fire. We share a fault situation.
Did you ever go, or did you have like the Omni or the IMAX theater as a kid? Omni's where it's around you. The theater's like a dome. Have you been to that?
I still can't get over a Ring of Fire because I don't know what that means.
The Ring of Fire is like a chain of volcanoes that encircle the Pacific. So like we sort of share, Japan has always charted their earthquakes since forever, and less so over on the American side, but like they can even chart through like Native American lore and stories with these events that also happen in Japan at the same time.
Wow.
It's really cool. It's really interesting.
I mean, now the Ring of Fire is just me after a weekend at the Dunes Inn. If you
No, I don't.
All I can think of is this Johnny Cash song.
We went to see, so the Omni was like a movie theater, but they would have nature. It was always at a museum.
Yes.
So they had a special called The Ring of Fire, which was all about volcanoes and earthquakes, but somehow they tied it into like, it's the end of the world is imminent. and it's going to be via earthquake. Anyway, I was a kid and it scared me shitless. I thought everything was going to like go falling into the earth.
That was going to be that's my plan B is end time prophet, because you don't have to be right. Nobody ever fucking is.
Yeah. No. Dr. Jack Van Impe is this insane. He's dead. he outlived all of his end of the world stuff. And you can trace it back in the 60s. He has records that he put out where the Russians were the end of the world.
You're brilliant. How would you even know that?
Because he was on the church channel, and here's the reason why. His wife, who I believe is still alive, her name is Dr., which is debatable, Dr. Rexella Van Impe.
Ruined my life, Dr. Rexella.
Are you kidding? This bitch looked crazy too. Like I love like an old lady on Zanny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Please. With the end times in her eyes. I love that shit. But you love a disaster.
I do. I've always loved, there's always growing up end time prophets were so big, and it was always, church based, which I found like really exciting as a kid. And then
it sort of validated oh my gosh, they're right. Like,
yeah, they got you. You're like, well, it does look bad
because God isn't wrong when you're a kid.
No. Did you go to church when you were a kid?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I can't look at you ask a serious church question like that.
Wait a second.
I dare you.
Oh, I forgot I had that on. God damn it. You cuties. I forgot.
Ask about
All right, there. Is it rubbed in?
Sort of, yeah.
Did you go to church? Yeah. Well, did you, Paul Danke?
Yeah, did you?
I did. Well, I just love now that End Time Prophets is now science-based, but it's still the same. It's still someone in a white frock telling you shit that only they have the relative information to, and they're like, the end is coming. I'm like, I have been hearing this my entire life. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, the world's not going to end. A lot of people are going to die, but that's just because they keep printing more people.
Yeah, exactly. If the end is near, where the fuck is it? Yeah. It's late like everything else.
Right, exactly. Like, is it here? Where are my readers? I've misplaced the end of the world.
Did we sleep through it?
I know, God. Yes. Well, it's like there's another comedy friend passed away. I know, whenever anyone young dies, and everyone's like, only the good die young. And I'm like, well, what the fuck am I still doing here?
What? You're so good.
Old and bad. Yeah. Take me, Lord. See, here's the thing. Are you a prepper in any way, shape, or form? Do you stock up?
I have a pretty solid stock of dry goods. I'd say.
I was gonna say confidence. Dry goods.
Yeah, too much confidence, but and that will be the death of me, which is ironic. I kept too much confidence on the shelf.
Because I started because I have an earthquake kit, and then that slowly morphed into like a glamping kit. Do you know what I mean?
Of course, because I go camping a bunch with my kids, and it sort of evolved into how can we make this comfortable and compact? And I just, I love.
We could stay inside. No, sorry.
No, it is we had a canopy, you put over a picnic table, and I was like, we got to get one with the screen around it, so now we don't have to deal with yellow jackets. And they tell you not to cook in them, but you totally can cook in them. See? Because who cares?
Fire hazard schmeyer smasher.
Not worried about it. Not worried about a little bitty fire.
So do you guys stay overnight in outside?
Oh yeah. Yeah. A few times a year. I just love being outside. I love waking up outside.
Oh, that's nice.
It's just so peaceful. It's the only time I wake up early is when I'm camping. Oh.
See, that's the one, I think the downside of being a drunk is waking up outside. That's the one thing I don't like about it.
The one thing I keep thinking is is it one of those things where you're like, oh, I want to go camping. And then your kids are like, we want to go camping. You're like, oh, I don't want to go camping.
You have your niece and nephew to take. Your two
They're nieces.
I'm sorry. I keep saying, okay.
Well, those are their pronouns now.
Okay, you're right.
Shit changes fast.
Shit changes.
These days.
You gotta keep
You have
up.
2 kids, but you're so young.
I know. And I had them really young. Yeah. So that was my...
Is that scary? I just think kids are scary all the time.
Only in that, the scary part is now part of your heart is outside of your body, and you have to worry about their safety and happiness all the time. Yeah. And that's scary because you're like, oh, the world is coming for you too. Well, so I'm all my horrible, cynical comedian ideas are sort of giving them a little more than they should, which I'm like, well, that's fine. They got tough attitudes. They don't expect things to be fair. They understand meritocracy is fake. They don't trust authority.
Man, I feel like my parents really based us on meritocracy. which is a sham.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't know that forever. It was like, because we were in gymnastics, which we hated. And no matter what, you just had to complete these tasks and they'd sew like a star on your shorts, right?
Right.
Well, guess who was dog shit at every activity but still got the star? Do you know what I mean? Because I actually just did it.
Just because you showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look at me now. I have no spine. I have no character.
Oh my God. If you ever write on a show, you'll see that even especially comedy, like the smallest things, like a sense of humor, don't even, they're not even in
It's not
a
required.
writing room. Yeah. It's just like, wow. It's just if you kind of stick around and suck up, you'll
make it.
That is a fact about the comedy world that blew my mind.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to swallow that pill of like, no, of course the funniest people are, and then you're like, that is so far from the truth. And then it's, because fame sort of snowballs on itself, like people that get a good break early that aren't good, they keep getting good breaks, and now they've got all the stage time, so they're like sharp but still not good. They're like working from a bad piece of clay. There's too much water in this clay. You're goopy. It's all just farting all over itself.
Yeah,
horrible. Should we name names? No, I'm kidding.
And then, sure. And those people get paid for specials and everything, and it's mind blowing. Like, I don't know. I'm glad that there wasn't this, glut of streaming and everything when I was starting out, because my shit sucked in the beginning.
Yeah. But you have to be like ready, set, go, and like out, shiny and ready. Yeah. You just put out like an EP.
I put out it's a full length album.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
No,
and we'll put this somewhere else other than the people that suck. We'll put
because you have to do that yourself.
Yeah,
like you have to self-produce, and you've made a video and everything, and it's like that's the world now. We
can truly vouch for how funny Paul is.
Thank you.
No, but I meant like in this world where you have to be on and reels and everything all the time.
Awful.
You can't wait for someone to produce your album. You have to do it yourself.
I kind of realized that for a long time, I kind of was waiting for, like, you're hoping, like, I got this good material. I don't want to release an album myself. I want someone to give me a special. And then you're like, okay, I still want someone to give me a special. And now I've written even more material, and I'm not even doing that good stuff that could have been released before. And I was like, what the am I doing with my stuff? I need to make a more concerted effort just to put it out so I have it, versus like, everything's an audition, and that's so shitty. It's like the least funny scenario. Audition for the least funny people, and like the showcases, they come up, some of the people that are doing the picking, they come up to you afterwards and they have such like glib, shitty ways of interacting with you. You're like, I hate you.
Yeah.
And I can tell that that's radiating from you. You're no doubt feeling that. And this is bad. I'm on ice right now. This is bad. And I just can't.
I think that's my problem. I have like a bad vibration sometimes. I'm like, I don't care and I hate you for it. Like,
well, everyone's so young too. I had this woman come up to me, and I guess she was part of. It was a magazine. It was a big comic. I guess she was part of the Lampoon. They were going to do a TV thing a while ago. And she came up to me and kind of almost condescending, goes, you were good. And I was like, who the fuck are you? Am I getting discovered? Blow me. Come on. I've been doing, I'm probably doing this before you were born.
No one needs a pat on the back.
Yeah.
We met, I think, did we meet at Blam?
I think so.
Blam.
Yeah. At our bar in Koreatown.
Yes. Because I think that was one of the first shows I did when I moved to LA.
I think that's definitely where we met.
I feel like, did you ever do that? Demorge Brown? Hi, Demorge.
Oh,
yes, Demorge.
Of course. You've done this show several times. You're one of the funniest people on the show, too.
I love that fucking show. And you know what I thinking that they make a drink after you that night.
Yeah.
Which I love. That to me is special.
I hope we do more of those. We haven't done one in a while. But
it was a magical show at this weird bar that always felt like a weird pirate ship.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
It totally did.
And it would be like you were actually a master at, like, first of all, starting a show in a loud bar that has several rooms.
Yes.
Where just even socially aren't bound by anything. And you have to interrupt that and
you
sew
were
it
so
all
funny.
together.
It's still so funny, but in that situation, it's the worst possible situation. I mean, how did you feel about the Joe Coy thing? Like, I thought, I mean, when you're hosting, it's the worst fucking job.
Yeah.
And Paul was he's amazing.
He's like a gentleman.
Keeps the energy.
Yeah.
I felt bad for him. I know that it's hard. Because especially that thing, you're performing for 3 different audiences. You're performing for the people in the room who you want to laugh. You're really performing for the executives that hired you because they need to be pleased. But then you're going to be judged by the people at home watching it who have no real bearing on whatever you're doing.
Who are trolls.
They're absolutely trolls.
Absolute trolls.
Yeah.
So I felt bad for him, but he threw the writers on the bus so quickly. And I was like, you know what? You had 10 days.
Yeah.
You say that's not a lot of time.
Yeah.
That is 10 fucking days.
Yeah.
I bet you have 100 friends or comedians that you could have punch up these jokes, and you agreed to tell these jokes.
Yeah.
You could have said, that's joke's not funny enough.
Yeah.
And then guess what? There'd be a different joke.
Yeah,
I feel like
don't act like you're surprised by the cue cards or the monitor. You know, it's like, oh my god, I'm seeing this for the. Yeah, I know this. You know what I mean?
Oh, did it play well in rehearsal? Because I know your ass rehearsed at this stuff. I know you did. So,
but I think everybody agrees the line was when he threw the writers under. Other than that, everyone would just take it as a bomb and leave it. But the fact that he couldn't like own that moment.
yeah, you gotta smile.
grand.
Sometimes your hands in the fire too long, and you go, oh, "What am I doing?"
Yeah.
But it's you. You just have to laugh.
I did over relate to it though. I was like, oh
Me
my God,
too.
that's what I look like when I'm bombing. It's like you get that weird, like I ate spicy food.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That weird sweat.
Oh, yeah.
It's just only there. Like, or-
Yeah, I think people that don't really perform, unless if you have like public speaking anxiety, you don't really get the places that your body starts creating sweat when you're going through that. It is only unique to that situation.
I had to do.
It's so weird.
You know, Larry David said that he's doing something he always wanted to do. This is what he said about stand up. He's doing something he always wanted to do, and what proves it is he's sweating at his waist.
Yeah.
I have had to it was before I was going to be on camera. I'm in a weird trailer.
Oh God.
And it was like my lower back is sweating. I was like, what? And I didn't want like that to appear. So anyway, I left my trailer. There's a trash can full of like soggy paper towels. I was like, what am I? I'm a fucking gross machine. Never been a problem before.
Oh man.
My sweat scarf around my waist.
It's so weird. And then it starts creeping up. And it's like it creates so much sweat where it's trickling down your back and you're aware of each little
But it's
drop.
only in that. There's nothing ever
That should
nerve-wracking.
be a horror ride. That should be like a ride in a haunted
stand-up
house.
comedy.
flop sweat.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's a great idea.
Yeah, flop sweat ride.
Can you imagine just like thrusting normal people into like a weird room where a paid audience is there to boo them? Or worse, just talk to themselves and ignore them? That's my favorite.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is when you're performing comedy and someone really close to the stage has just elected to talk to the person next to them,
I
and
know.
like full on like.
Yeah.
The same thing happened to me at a Tori Amos concert, and I was furious.
Oh yeah, that's bad.
It was like bad etiquette. It was like someone is emoting and we are all traumatized. And then this girl goes, so anyway, I told Brad.
Yeah, you're like, what?
It was like earth shattering. It was so funny.
Can you shut up for now?
Yeah.
Let me enjoy.
It was great. It was like we are all victims and we're trying to work that out.
This is something I think I'm not good at with hosting is dealing with that, because I find that I seem very easygoing until I'm a little upset, and then I seem like a really mean person. And I'm like, was I being that mean?
It's because you're nice, and so the mean is a more of a betrayal.
You're
Do you know what I mean?
To
You're
you
right.
or to the audience?
To the audience.
Yeah.
I found myself on the losing end of an audience for sure. Like if I did what Joe Coy did of throwing the audience under the writers on the bus, I'm sure I would have lost every single person on the planet.
But it's the niceness, and they're like, oh, we trusted that niceness. If you're already kind of an asshole and then just more of that, people aren't like, oh, we invested in you. I find, right? It's the whole Ellen thing.
Right.
Like
right,
people didn't like that Ellen might be a bad person because she's so nice on TV. I was like, well, yeah, she's got an industry to run.
Yeah, you run an empire and be nice about it.
And flip houses in Montecito.
In Montecito? In that market?
Time.
Come on.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can we all? Have you been to Montecito? There's like oil rigs in the ocean.
God,
yes.
Really? I had no idea.
Yeah.
I've been there, but I didn't notice
We
that.
need to take this show on the road.
We do. Let's go to Montecito.
Well, what happened in Montecito?
You two are made for Santa Barbara.
Can I tell you, I do want to retire and be some old like queen who wears linen and just fucking be in Santa Barbara.
You and your fucking sweaty linen.
I'll be retired then, so I won't have performance flop sweat.
Yeah.
But there's this restaurant, I think it's called Roy's, where it's like this little simple whatever, and like the menu was like handwritten in Sharpie, all this bullshit. And then like you're eating, it's delicious, and then an old man in an apron comes out and was like, hey, thank you for coming, and he's doing the dishes, and it's Roy. And I'm like, right?
That's sweet.
I don't want to be a dishwasher, but like I want. No. They also have a painting of Bill Clinton and Jennifer Flowers with her tits out. It's amazing.
Wow.
Jennifer with the G.
Wow. I got to see this painting.
Go to Roy's. I have a photo of
it. It's a painting?
I will be at Roy's.
Man, you know my photo with Bill with the side grab boob. With my tits
Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
No.
And?
Yeah, HRC. Okay, it was an HRC benefit. And it's a photo of me and...
She won't actually, we're not allowed to say Hillary on the podcast.
Oh no, it was me, Bill Clinton, and Kevin Spacey. And this is before, Kevin Spacey, I think, is such a good actor. And also I thought he was really sexy and whatever. And classic being attracted to a gay guy, you know. So, but yeah, I've got, you can, well, we'll
Laura has a thing for predators.
But it's so funny. Like, here's my waist. I know that it's far down because I'm tall.
Right.
And his hands are like, Bill Clinton's fingers are like right next to my boobs somehow on the side.
There's a photo.
Yeah.
I have to see this photo.
Okay,
first of all.
I'm going to show it to you.
You need it on more t-shirts. We need it next episode. We should be wearing
I know.
Shirt.
It's funny because Kevin Spacey is looking at another friend of ours, Carrie, who's a really good writer, Kari, Carrie Linzer, and he's looking at her. I'm looking at him, and Bill's just like, you know, I don't know, like looking straight ahead, like anything is a moment for press. I don't know,
right?
But it's just funny.
God,
he would swoop through Austin every once in a while, Bill Clinton, and just people would be charmed. He came through.
Sure.
Everyone I met, my friend. There's like pictures of all these people beaming with him. I think it's when you have like an accent like Paula Deen. People just love that. It's
it's just dripping.
You can't help but love them.
No,
the dripping.
Yeah, even though they like hang people with dark skin. Like what? Yeah, that's their lore. Where are you from? You're from Fontana?
I'm from Fontana, yeah.
You went to school in
Do
Washington?
you not listen to this podcast?
Because we were talking about the rainy weather, and he said he grew up in Washington.
Yeah.
His parents moved there. Sorry.
Yeah, we moved there when I was in middle school, and it was such
You were busy putting cult marks on your goddamn forehead when I was background checking our guest.
Have I smoothed it in?
Yeah, you look great.
You do.
It's
It's going to sink in anyway.
All right. We'll edit it out. But you did grow up you were around the Pacific Northwest? You went to school?
Yeah, we moved there when I was in middle school, and it was a town called Bellingham, Washington. It's like 20 minutes from the border. It's like far west. Yes, it is framed.
Shit. Look at that.
Look at that.
See, that's Carrie Lizer, who he's pretending that he's in love with, like he's still straight. And that's my friend Peter, who's an interior designer, and that's me. And I'm looking at her too.
Yeah.
No one's looking at Bill Clinton.
No. He looks drunk.
Yeah, but look at the hand.
Look
See
at
the
that
hand?
hand.
See the hand?
There they are.
It's like...
Look, they're like right. Well, it's a little bit above my waist.
Thanks,
it's not
Garrett.
quite.
That's way above your waist.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
What a wonderful picture.
I think I've seen a tighter shot of it. Maybe I didn't see the expanded with everybody.
This is like a Renaissance painting.
Yeah,
worth of
I'm
stuff.
going to paint that myself.
There's dogs playing poker, and there's this.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to paint it.
Was he? Were you charmed by Bill Clinton?
No. Kevin Spacey. I just thought
He was the one.
I want to talk to him. He's, I had just seen the movie version of Glenn Ross and thought, damn, he's sexy and cool.
I just watched Heartburn the other night.
Oh yeah.
With it's Meryl Streep and Jack Nicholson, and and he has a small cameo in it.
Oh.
He comes in and he robs Meryl Streep at one point, and he's like bleached hair and like a denim vest, I think. I was like, Kevin Spacey, cool. That was a cool look for you right here.
How did you get into comedy? Were you like actor, sketch, or just straight stand up?
I was always doing voices and jokes since I was a kid, like a very small kid. I remember telling jokes and getting laughs and being like, this is what I want to do. And I did like sketches. And then when I was in high school, my high school had a sketch comedy show.
Wow.
A weekly show through the AV Club. And I got into it when I was a senior, and I was like, we put out a new show every week. Every Thursday night, we're up till like 2 a.m. editing off of like VHS tapes.
Wow.
And I just loved it. I just thought this is the most fun you could possibly have. Most of the stuff we were doing was so unoriginal, some of it offensive, and we got in trouble a lot. And it was just like, oh my God.
This was in the 90s, early aughts?
90s.
So did the other students go on Thursdays to see, or you said every Thursday you're putting it together, so that next morning you...
Yeah, it was called Friday Morning Live.
Wow.
Wait, the school would show it?
Yeah, it would show on the closed circuit television thing. So it was a wild...
That's exciting.
When I started at this school, it was like the seniors that were on that were like famous at the school because they were on the school's TV show.
Wow,
And
that's amazing.
It was, every high school should have something like this. It's, you end up doing so much work. You learn so much, and it just sort of, it definitely gave me the confidence to feel like, I know what I'm doing, even though I've done nothing. So everywhere I went, I was like, I've done stuff like this before.
There was a real moment when I realized you could connect 2 VCRs together and edit a video. That was, and if you could get the stereo audio in there too.
Yes.
Like 90s Daniel was all into that.
You still really edit well. Like you really always do cool stuff.
Yeah, it's people. There's adult coloring books, and then there's editing. Right, both are phenomenal wastes of time that benefit somebody else.
Well,
they're meditative. They're frustrating.
Yeah.
It never ends. Yes.
But when did you move to LA, or did you?
I moved to LA right after college. In college, I did the same thing. They were starting on the local access channel, a late night show. And I was like, oh, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. And that was when I first started writing jokes because there was a monologue thing. So I was like, oh, cool. I'm going to learn how to write jokes. And this kid, Kenny, he had done stand up before, and he was like, oh, I'll show you how to do this. He was also obsessed with Dennis Miller, and that was just so weird. But
oh man,
Dennis Miller used to be funny.
I wrote for Dennis Miller before he became a Republican.
Yeah,
for 6 months I did it. It's like, oh,
that?
And here's what we did. The writers, we handed in our stuff without our names on it, as if it wasn't gonna, like no one would get hurt, that way.
Right.
But then I remember we went, oh, this is weird. This must be Kightlinger, and it was. Guess what was mine every single time. So it didn't make any difference. So how am I gonna? If it's funny, but how am I gonna do that? How's that gonna work in my mind?
But he used to be funny. Oh, I should say. He was funny, and now he's.
I don't know.
I can't say MAGA. Anyway, go ahead.
But getting there. But yeah, that's when I started writing like 30 monologue jokes every week. I would go on the news and just start writing
You said you were a news kid?
Yeah.
I love the news. Do you love the news?
I don't watch the news anymore. I just read it. But when I was a kid, Eyewitness News.
Yes.
I was obsessed with it. And then, it was always on at my grandma's house, and just like Baby Jessica in the Well.
Yeah.
I
think that's why you love disasters, is because the 90s, it was this weird, like, people have camcorders and television, and it wasn't America's Funniest Home Videos. It was like tornadoes or like Baby Jessica.
Oh, and it was just so exciting because it was real and it was actually happening. And I loved it. I was so
Baby
into
Jessica
it.
scared the shit out of me. Do you remember that?
I do. And I was thinking, like, it must have been like it was the fireman or whatever, the fireman who saved her. I think it was such a endorphin rush and such a proud moment for him and such a great feeling that he couldn't top it, and he wound up killing himself.
No.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I think
How? He threw himself down a well?
I don't know, but I mean,
he
it's just
shows
like
back up. Well, oh my God.
He wasn't feeling well?
Yeah.
Okay, we were talking earlier that like at the 12-ish age, you become like, there's like you become fixated on a few things is what you said.
Yeah.
And then you asked me what, like, it's usually a celebrity or something, but I didn't ask you what was yours, or did that happen to you?
It did, yes. For me, it was Jim Carrey and Kurt Cobain.
Wow.
I loved Jim Carrey.
Was it Ace Ventura?
And what about after he left the drugs out? What about after he riddled his young girlfriend with STDs and then left his drugs out for her to kill herself?
Yeah,
Did that turn you a little?
That did.
Yeah.
But
that
that's
did.
years before that, Laura.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
Years before that.
I'm awful that way. I can't, separate the artist from
I can't either.
who he's killed.
I can't either, but it does make you weirdly have to reconcile some of this stuff of like, yes, horrible monster. Did it fully shape my sensibility and like comedy? Yes.
Listen,
No,
if
true.
pistol whipping a few women is what it took to make American classic music, then someone give Phil Spector a gun, because that is some timeless music soundtrack of my life.
I think I felt that way about Peter Sellers. Like I remember
What
seeing
did he do?
one of the Pink Panthers and crying, laughing. Just he was like tripping on. He was like rolling around, like just falling over fruit at a door, and I was crying about that.
Well, what did Peter Sellers?
I guess he was pretty shitty to his wives.
Oh, well,
And weird,
fucking pick one.
Yeah.
I know. That's where we're drawing the line. Oh my God.
There's a huge spectrum of being shitty to your wife.
Yeah.
Like, and now we're like, okay, all right.
Right.
Was he verbally abusive? Yeah. But in what way? Was he too demanding, or was he name calling? Was he putting her down in public, or was he hard to please? Like, I can
Was the
forgive
weapon aimed at her or at him?
Yes, he brandished the gun. Was it? It's you weirdly go, all right. I'm just trying to triangulate these details and see how bad they are.
I think it was just like simple unfaithfulness. Like as he got more and more famous, he just would date whatever, start going out with whoever
would show him their Pink Panther.
Yeah.
Yes.
Daniel Elizabeth.
But okay, I did not like Jim Carrey, but I didn't get him at the time because on In Living Color he was the awkward one.
Yeah, but I liked that. I thought
I didn't get it at the time.
He played so big, and I still have a problem playing too big. I still like my eyes get goofy, and I can be too far into the wacky zone.
Sure.
And I just love that he did it so unabashedly.
But I didn't get like, especially because you remember the era, especially before fucking Austin Powers, where Pet Detective, Ace Ventura, just fucking saturated the lexicon. There wasn't one 5-minute interaction you have with a person who was like, "Do not go in there," whatever it was.
You're right.
Whatever catchphrase, because it was loaded with them.
I even remember, must have been early 2000s. Kevin James put out his first Comedy Central special, and he's dropping "alrighty thens."
No,
just like this is just the way I speak.
And even that couldn't make him funny.
No, I don't know. That I was thinking about this, that the funniest person that you know in your own life is still much funnier than someone who's famous, because famous people are not that original. Famous comedians, anyway.
Do you think so?
I think
pretty bland and average, most of them. Now, I mean.
Well, I mean, I will say this.
Kevin James is awful.
Portia at Sunny Wigs in East Austin is the funniest person I've ever met. She was so great. I went in, I had long hair, and I was like buying a wig.
I remember.
And I was like, I have really fabulous hair. So if I'm going to cover it up with a wig, it has to be an even more fabulous wig. And Portia goes, okay. And then she put me in her chair, and she was playing with my hair and just put it wig, and playing all these kind of like life things. And she's just come on, you remind me of my friend Andrew. You just told, and she said that 100 times. And by the 100th time you realize, I was like, your friend Andrew died of AIDS in the 80s. And I'm the flamboyant gay white man who's walked in here, and I was right. I was fucking right. But she's the funniest person I've ever met.
Yeah,
and that bitch is not a performer.
Oh, I know. That's how I think that's how it goes. Yeah.
Well, because I don't know. You think no one's original because they're influenced by something, or
I don't know. I mean, I think the multimillionaires anyway in comedy are they're not very genuine, and so to me, I think they're not that funny.
Yeah, I think that you end up on this terrible runway of trying to develop material where you're like still trying to validate your celebrity. Your celebrity is being validated by pre-approval, so they're laughing at stuff that is bland.
Yeah,
and sometimes I've got no problem with people having jokes written for them, but like there's no soul to it.
Yeah,
and it's just like, this sucks. This is pop music in the worst way. That I find myself. I have like a reaction to it.
I feel like as an audience member, collectively, there's a real, if you're not authentic, they can fucking sniff it out. And it's another form of betrayal where they're like, I can't believe you think we believe this. But I feel that, you know what I mean?
I hope so, yeah.
Well, I don't know, because there's no, what is it? There's no stupid audience. Or Phyllis Diller says every audience has a different IQ.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting.
Every audience has a different IQ. There's not a stupid audience. They just have different IQs.
And so the ones with the high IQs like us.
She really don't. Yeah.
And the ones, true.
Exactly. Well, we're highbrow.
I want an audience with a high emotional, and high EQ, and high emotional intelligence.
We have to worry about people's emotions now too. I hate this century.
I'm not worried about it. I just want them to feel it.
Oh,
yeah. Because
that's
why
you
like. Yeah, and he likes Earthquake.
Who are you looking up to? Jim Carrey said.
I love Jim Carrey.
Have you met him yet?
No.
Are there people you've met that you're like, I can't believe I get to meet these people?
It's okay to say me.
Laura's right.
Well, I did really love your special on Comedy Central.
That's an old one. God almighty. I'm trying to
loved it.
Oh, thank you. I'm dying to do something new. Well, everybody is. Everybody wants to do a special. But thank you. But I wanted to get back to you recording. We never talked about your album.
Oh, yeah.
Can we get into it?
Sure. I recorded it like a year and a half ago up in Humboldt County at the Savage Henry Comedy Club. There are my buddies. I love those guys. It's like the Muppet Theater up there. Everyone's so funny and weird. And I've been going up there performing with them since before they had a club. They Cornell Reed's from up there. So we would go up and we'd put on these shows like once a year. And then they were like, we're going to start doing a comedy festival.
Fantastic.
Like, now we're opening a club. And the club where they opened it is actually the first venue in that town I performed in. It used to be a rock club. Then it was a Juggalo Social Club.
Amazing.
I performed in different iterations. Yeah.
Shut up.
Yes.
You performed at a Juggalo?
That one actually, we didn't do the show. We went there. We were there. There was like 6 of us. And then they were all there. They were like surly Juggalos, which is rare. Rare. It's usually a very joyful group.
Do you know what a Juggalo is?
No.
It's Insane Clown Posse.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I thought of it, but I didn't know that because I think of them as like being in punk venues.
Yeah,
like,
kind of.
Mostly.
It's sort of like, I don't know. It's
they're
friendly
like
people.
parrot heads for dirtbags. It's like
that's the problem. Is the ICP people, the actual people in Insane Clown Posse are rough. Anyway, I think it's like any club that makes you wear fucking face paint. They all look like kids tried to put their makeup on after they had a stroke. It's like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think most of them are sober. They don't like their fans are all just getting up, and they're like, we can't do this. We're running a business here. We have an energy drink, like, and I'm like,
serious business.
I'm like, don't you guys, don't you feel this? Isn't this weird to you? You're not bothered by this?
I think for Thanksgiving, if I'm ever invited back to a family holiday, I'm just going to show up as a Juggalo and not say a word. You're going to finish that? Be real aggressive about the food. No disrespect. Everyone needs a community.
Absolutely.
Right.
I worked with this kid that was a huge Juggalo, and he had like the sweetest attitude. He was just like a really lovely kid, and he was diehard about the Juggalos, about the community that he felt there. And I was like, man, I don't know what to tell you, but that's funny. Your community is cracking me up.
All communities are a cult. If they make you wear a costume, it's a fucking cult.
That's one of the things I joke about on this album is how I like Hawaiian shirts, but I like them. You see, the joke is this. I'll tell you a joke. Okay. I go into a place, there's a guy wearing a Hawaiian shirt. Oh, fun guy. You go into a place, there's 2 guys in a Hawaiian shirt. Oh, fun brothers. All right. The room is filled with Hawaiian shirts. Let's get the out of here.
That's good.
I don't like really bulk personalities. I don't want to see the whole group together.
Can I tell you, I worked at the same restaurant where the swingers / credit advisors work. There was this couple. They would come in every Friday, man woman couple. And they called them Frick and Frack. They dressed the exact same, and it was Hawaiian.
Yes,
man, woman couple that have been married for years, and they had them like custom fit or whatever.
So it's not pineapple, which means we swing.
Right.
See, I just learned that. Did you?
That's
know that?
new. That's a few years ago. I feel like it was really popular on social media.
As a queer person, I feel like I should be abreast to all the kink.
Yeah.
Well, I know that
Signals.
people when they're like. I've seen people that go camping. They'll like have a pineapple centerpiece for their sort of picnic table to sort of like let the other people in the campsite know we're down to clown, but not in the insane clown bossy way.
You're not even aware of the kink at this table. Like, I've got a razor blade between my toes. I'm bleeding out onto Paul.
It's very warm.
And we're both really
Ow,
excited.
Laura! I told you I have a boyfriend.
Okay.
Ow.
See, now you're into it.
Ever since you brought that Bill Clinton photo in here, everyone got real kinky.
Oh, I know.
Somebody needs to turn upside
it's
down.
still here.
Just turn it over. Let's just turn it
I
over.
like
and
to
not
Turn it
look
so I
at
have a better view of the story.
It's the fourth character in the show.
It really
I
is.
look at that. It's one of my many fake smiles. I can't even look at it anymore.
No, I love it. I'm obsessed with that.
But you had it very tastefully framed. Let's say this is tastefully done.
Peter, my friend who's the designer who's in this photo, he did it. I think he framed it and gave it to me.
Oh,
Yeah. So.
what an angel.
We have to mark the occasion.
But now, Paul. Oh, sorry. I want to know where do you usually perform? Like, if people want to go and see.
Yeah, I usually perform on the east side.
East Side.
East side. Oh my God. Anything that's like a not actual venue, that's generally where you'll find me.
But like,
Not at a comedy club almost ever.
because everything changed in LA after pandemic. Like all those East Side alt shows.
It's really fucked, actually. There isn't like a strong nucleus for the alternative comedy scene anymore. But that's kind of my perception of that is it really created a clear line in the demographic of like, we were doing this all before. We're adults now. We put time into this. Now we all took 3 years off.
Yeah.
And about 1 year through that, young people who are like, I don't give a fuck if I get sick.
Yeah.
We're starting a show. Now they've been running shows for 2 years, and everyone's like, you got to get on the show. It's a hot show. And I'm like, because it's not a hot show. It's just the only shows happening.
Yeah.
And it just created this like big fear of like, I'm old. There's young people doing it. They don't know who I am. And I'm like, babe,
They never did.
they never. When I hear that attitude, I'm like, what? Why did you start?
Yeah.
Did someone ask you to?
Right.
Was someone begging you to become we're doing this for our own sick reasons.
Yeah.
Not because you were already accepted. Like, you always have to prove yourself all the time, and you have to keep being funny or be Kevin Hart. And then and then you can just do commercials and people are still like, you're a genius.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's a spokesman.
Nobody wants to be in commercials around here. That's what I want to do.
I want to do commercials. Pay me
This
money.
is my favorite
Yeah.
because look at this. What's that bit? Oh, Marie Osmond. Have you seen her?
No.
She's in like 5 wellness commercials. Everything from like medicine, all this other. Meanwhile, the bitch has to put in her teeth and put on a wig just to tell you how well she's doing. Do you know what I'm saying? Look at me, I'm great. And the bitch has been Ozembic down to this.
I know.
And then it's like, and you know what I mean when like she's so lit that all you can see are the eyeballs. You know what I mean? Like the lighting.
Spooky.
But that's what I want.
Were you talking before about Slim Fast? Like somebody actually went to the house of a famous person who was, promoting Slim Fast, and they open the closet door and it's all cans of Slim Fast. Like stars don't actually
Take it.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, do the no.
Yeah.
You just take the money.
Yeah. But I mean, isn't that funny? Like, I guess, like, for a second you think, well, maybe that worked. I guess that if they're trying it, it worked. Or if they're endorsing it, they must have to try it. But they don't.
Oh no.
That was I remember Tommy Lasorda, he was a spokesperson for Slim Fast. And I remember as a kid, like the guy that was throwing first base at umpires is now pitching this diet drink. And it was just, that was so funny to me that it just like stuck in my brain. I was like, well, that's funny.
Have you ever been
good?
Do you know that store Tuesday Morning? Do you know that store?
No.
It's like a craft, maybe like a Hobby Lobby.
Oh,
there's like toy, maybe not straight crafts. There's more to it. But anyway, it's called Tuesday Morning. You don't remember this?
No.
Fucking ancient. The last movie she ever made, Lauren Bacall, was a Tuesday Morning commercial.
No. That's amazing. I don't know.
Classic Hollywood. Lauren Bacall goes, "Come to Tuesday Morning, where there's a deal every day." Or something
Holy
just
shit.
shameful.
Now
right?
I've got to find
You're
it.
like,
I have to.
What was her nickname for Spencer Tracy? What'd she call him? That was fucking Katharine Hepburn. Who was Bogey? Wasn't she with that guy?
Lauren Bacall was
Sorry,
the
my
guy.
fucking faggot
No,
brain
that's
is
okay.
not circulating the right way. I'm glitching all my queens.
Lauren Bacall married Humphrey Bogart.
So she
when
called
was
him
very
Bogey.
young.
Yeah. So from bagging Bogey to fucking hawking Tuesday Morning.
It happens.
I want that arc.
Dude, time comes for all of us.
I want that story. Time doesn't get. Did you watch the movie I told you? Did you watch To Be or Not to Be?
No. I was going to, and then I think we got hung up on some sci-fi thing from the 60s or something. Yeah.
Do you like old movies?
I do, yeah.
Like, have you seen that Jack Benny movie called To Be or Not to Be with Carol Lombard?
No, I've not.
I think World War II in real life is still happening.
Oh, yes.
Or it might be like 46, 47, so I might be wrong. But they're full on like Hitler jokes and they're pretending to be, they pose as Germans. It's
Yikes.
like wild.
Yeah.
I miss people having a sense of humor about the horrible people in the world. Like,
it's over.
Why are we being such babies?
I know.
Because we live in cult world.
I know that I watched Stage Fright the other night, and I noticed that I
Your
had
sweat was backing?
No.
Your back was sweating?
Your sweat was backing. Oh, my sweat was backing.
It actually doesn't have to do with that, believe it or not. It's about a murder that happens around a theater thing, but it's not about being afraid to go on. I realized that Marlene Dietrich had my theme song, which is "I'm a Lazy Woman," and it's supposed to be. It was supposed to be sexy, like "I know I could do it, you know I could do it, but I'm not going to do it. I'm a lazy woman."
Is it real?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm overdoing it and doing it too loud, but it was so funny. I am a lazy woman. That's me all the way. But she made it look sexy. She was in a negligee.
No, she sounds lazy when she sings.
Yeah, she was on like a fainting couch on stage. I'm a lazy woman, and I think that's what I don't know if it was the songs in High Anxiety that our favorite actress. I'm blanking on her name now.
Julia Roberts.
No, who did? No, in High Anxiety.
Madeline Kahn.
Jeez, yes. I think that was one of the
Is it really?
things-
I was just guessing.
Oh, yeah. Madeline Kahn saying, "I'm so tired of playing the game." I think that was based on her, Marlene Dietrich, singing that song in Stage Fright. I don't know.
In the 90s when we had a PC, and I discovered you could add a sound effect to a function. So like when a whoop would like, do you want to save this document would come up, and I made it the Mars Attacks Aliens. So I would go, gank, and
amazing.
And I don't know if you remember, if you like on the internet, sometimes it would like shut your internet down and be like, you performed an illegal function, like cancel or whatever. So when that came up, it was Madeline Kahn from Mixed Nuts when she's still stuck in the elevator and everyone's forgotten about her, and she goes, "Hey, dickhead!" And so one day I'm in the other room and my dad's at the computer, right? And something's going wrong and the screen keeps, so all I hear from the other room is, "Hey, dickhead, hey, dickhead, hey, dickhead." And my dad's like, "Daniel." I loved that. But I was like, but it's Madeline Kahn.
I love her.
That is so funny.
Like you rely on your innate closetedness to maybe get you out of trouble with your dad.
Well, I asked Garrett to do my ringtone from, I think it was called the Hollywood Suite, and it was, oh damn it, it was the woman. I'm sorry, Maggie Smith. Is that my subconscious talking?
You have the loudest subconscious I've ever heard.
Okay, so in Hollywood Suites or whatever, Maggie Smith says to Michael Caine, who won the thing, and he went to a award show that she didn't go to, but she was in a room waiting, and he kept saying, "Well, I don't know," blah, blah. And she goes, "Who won, asshole?" So my ringtone is asshole.
Wait, is that real?
Yeah.
Can we call you?
Asshole. Yeah.
I want to know.
Here, can you put that in?
Yes.
Asshole.
Can that just be the theme song to our fucking show now?
I forgot about that, and I was in a meeting with a bunch of execs and whatever on a show that I worked on recently, and I said, asshole.
Yes.
I have to take this.
Excuse me. That's my agent. Oh, God.
Do you like, did you ever think you were going to live in New York to do stand up, or was like LA always the place?
Yeah, LA was always like home. It always felt like I was going back home. So it just made sense. I kind of thought it sounded romantic to move to New York, but it was like, it was going to take too much of a learning curve for this lazy boy right here. So I moved down here and I was like, well, I'm glad I didn't go to Chicago. My grandma talked me out of moving to Chicago after college.
Oh, really?
Because she's from Chicago, and she was like, the last time I was in Chicago, I fell down on a train platform because of the ice. And I've never looked back. And I was like, okay, Chicago.
Yeah.
Plus, you fell in love out here, correct? Didn't you meet your wife out here?
No, we met in high school.
Oh, you did. Oh, high
I'm
school
always mystified by
sweetheart.
people who actually find love.
Well, she is also a California native, and we met in Washington, and we sort of mutual hate of living up there. It's such a strange Bellingham back then also was so weird. When we moved, I was a news kid. I grew up on the news, and then up there, Bellingham is closer to Vancouver than Seattle.
Oh.
So we would get our radio and our TV from Canada. So it was like living down like the Southland. I'm just raised on LA culture and just Southern California, everything. And then we moved and I was like, what word are they saying? What is a buffalo? And they're like, no, it's buffalo. I was like, why are they saying it buffalo? And everyone called bags bags. And I was like, I don't know. There was all this friction in my head of like, I can't understand a bunch of these words.
Yeah.
I hate it. And the music on Canadian radio is terrible. Terrible.
How so? Like what?
They have like whatever this deal where they have to play X amount of like a percentage of the artists have to be Canadian. So it's like you get introduced to weird pop stuff that never even makes it to America. Like we hated Nickelback for years.
Yeah.
Before they made it to everyone's hating. And
I know someone who went to...
What's it a boot?
yeah.
What?
What's it a boot?
Yeah.
And
What's it about? What's it a boot?
Wait. Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of Creed. Are they
Canadian.
Canadian?
I have no idea.
But Nickelback is the same. Oh no, Nickelback is okay. I got it.
Nickelback is Canadian.
Have you met like people from like at least my generation, like that I've met that are Canadian, worship Alanis Morissette. Like she's such a like goddess there in a way that Celine Dion is not.
Strange, right?
Yeah, but people really like fall down for her.
She killed though. I mean that album was so good.
Yeah.
It was all hits. It was like relatably angsty. I was like, am I this woman?
Oh, you were into it? Did you relate?
I loved it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I thought it was amazing. My best friend in high school, Brian, he also loved Alanis Morissette. And I remember they like interviewed him for the school paper, like, what are you listening to right now? He's like, Alanis Morissette on repeat.
Jagged little bit.
And everyone was like, what? He's like, what? It's amazing. And I was like, are you going to argue with him that Alanis Morissette isn't amazing?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I remember my friend was dating this guy who would only listen to Genesis.
Yes.
And I thought, oh God, I guess I like it too, but I've got to be stoned to listen to it.
Genesis is good.
Yeah, amazing.
You asshole, you asshole, you asshole.
That's Maggie
Thanks,
Smith.
Guru.
But that was going on when I was like looking sincere and exact, taking notes. You asshole, let me get that. And then I start laughing and saying it's Maggie Smith. Whatever.
Nobody. Do you know how you have to relate who Maggie Smith is? You have to say fucking Sister Act. Otherwise, nobody knows who. Or you probably do, but
Sister Act.
yeah, that bitch is in. She's the nun.
Oh.
Old ass British with the eyes, with the big eyes.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Maggie Smith, right? Yeah, she's like.
But I think of her more like from like Downton Abbey.
Oh
No?
yeah.
I don't know.
No. You're right.
Yeah.
I didn't watch that show.
Yeah, I watched it for a little bit, and then I was like, I had a cold. I quit cold turkey. Everything that was like watching Wealth, I was like, you know what? You. A rich guy died in his brand new automobile. You know what? awesome. I love that.
I do see. Yeah. Okay, did you like hook, line, and sinker? So when the Ocean Gate thing happened, like speaking of loving disasters and loving when rich people die,
love it.
Right. So the story broke. It was like Sunday night, right? I was chilling with my boyfriend and I was just reading the news. And I love when news kind of on the East Coast happens later because you're like, oh, tomorrow's going to be a great news day. And they're like, missing sub.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's a disaster.
I was like, oh, guess what? It's missing for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
I was immediately like, they're dead. You guys don't get it. I don't understand why I think they just kept telling people they were alive to honor the news cycle.
Yeah.
It's like purposefully done to keep the story relevant, even though all the experts are like, they're dead. They're gone. They're gone.
Mm-hmm.
I just put on a jacket the other day that had an old set list in it. I always write my set list on scraps of paper, and I found my joke about that thing going down.
That's here.
And I was like, a lot of people are wondering, can you joke about this submersible exploding? Let me tell you. If you die in a way, if the way that you die is portrayed in a ride at Disneyland, it is funny. You die in a submarine, that's funny. You go into a hidden temple, hilarious. You died on a snowy mountain, yep, also good. Amazon, yes, that's funny. It's all good. If it's a Disneyland, it's a funny way to die. You can make fun of it.
Have you been to?
Because rich people are involved.
Yes.
Oh yeah, rich people going down. That's fun.
Yeah.
Like I don't believe the story about the Astors or whoever on the Titanic where they just sat on deck chairs and went down with dignity. I was like, I would be screaming about how much money I was losing.
Oh sure.
Or unable to spend.
Yeah.
I can't imagine dying rich.
But also if they're
with money in the bank.
If they've been pampered their whole lives and they're not going to like throw someone in front of them that's poor.
Oh, there was a poor person who had to like fan them on the way down.
Yeah, sure.
You know that, right?
They paid him. The poor person's like, well, it's good money.
Here, do you mind dying so I can ride your back into town? Your dead corpse.
Do you like I love the ride at the tram ride at Universal.
Oh, it's the best ride.
With the earthquake part and all that shit. Yeah.
Now, do your kids still like to go on rides, or have they grown out of it? The 10 and 12, you said.
No, they like it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have fun with it. Now they like the more exciting rides, which is good. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping there's that window of time where I can still love roller coasters before I lose inner ear fluid and can't maintain my equilibrium and I start vomiting after every ride. But for now, still good.
Yeah.
Paul, we love you. Where can we see you?
Oh,
plug.
Yes. Well, you can listen to my new album. It's on Spotify. You can buy it. This is maybe the dumbest thing I've ever done. I recorded 2 songs that are on this album with a band.
There's a video.
There's a video of one of them. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I did this song was the club where I recorded my album. The previous time I had been there, I lit their stage on fire. I was just like kind of up, having too much fun.
Oh, no.
And their background is redwood bark. Mm-hmm. And I had been in the redwoods earlier that day talking to a ranger, and they said redwood bark is impervious to fire. Oh. And I was like, hey, do you think this shit is real? Or is this some paper mache bullshit? I was like, let's find out. Of course I have a lighter in my pocket. I light it and it just, whoa. And I was like, ah! I'm just putting it all out. The place smelled like smoke the rest of the night. And I was like, that was almost the dumbest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
That could have gone really bad.
What's that band? Great White?
Yeah, Great White.
Yeah.
Almost Great White. I always say White Snake.
I do too. Yeah.
Or White Snake is guilty by association.
They've lucked into that. That's why I was sitting here like this the whole time, because I was like, is it Great White or White Snake? Great White or White Snake?
Did you get it out with just your shirt? How did you get it out?
I put it out with my hands.
Oh my God.
With confidence.
Yeah.
With all that confidence.
You're a man's man.
It was a surreal moment. It was every performer has those moments where you're like, oh, I'm kind of like watching myself. This is weird. But when you're like, I'm watching myself, and what the fuck was I thinking? Why did I think that was the right thing to do? Mm-hmm. So when I went back and recorded my set, my album, I talked about it, and I apologized, and I was like, wouldn't it be funny if that wasn't a good enough apology, I was like, I'm going to write a song. And I'm not like not generally a songwriter, but I was like, I'm going to do it. And so I did it. And I'm friends with these guys that are all a bunch of studio musicians. And I was like, hey, can we do this? And they're like, yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
And it turned out, it's funny working with professionals that they take a simple idea and make it sound really good.
But the video, you're like on a motorcycle. Are you?
No.
What are you? It looks like very 80s to me. Very
So all the proceeds go to the club?
Hell no. Hell no.
To the rebuilding of the club.
I love that though. We'll link it too. So
Please do.
Yeah.
I know I shot it at this this production studio where I know the guys. I met them over the pandemic, and I was like, hey, can I light a piano on fire at your studio? And they're like, yeah. That's a great idea. And I was like, okay, cool. Bunch of cowboys. I love this. I like this attitude of person of like, let's light the fire and see what happens. We'll do it in a way that feels safe, but we are going to, this is a controlled burn. And oh my God, this piano fucking burned. We cooked this thing so.
Did you play it as it burned?
At the very beginning. And then it was like, it wasn't enough fire. So we had to add more accelerant to really get it going. And then when we had to put it out, it was like, okay, this thing's burning too far. It's like burning out through the back of it. And it was like super hot. And I was like, all right, let's put this out. Just used a fire extinguisher and it went out and then just immediately reignited.
Yes.
And I was like, oh,
but also not impervious.
No. But Noah, who works there, a friend of mine, he had like a whole trash can filled with water. We dumped that in it, and that didn't put it out all the way.
Yeah.
Because there's this big, like, it's like a cast iron plate that runs through the back of the piano, which I never realized.
So, like a grand piano goes like this?
Yes.
An upright is that turned like that?
Yes.
So it's the full frame of the...
And it was so hot. Like, I can't imagine what temperature it got to, but it was really fun.
I never thought of Paul as an arsonist. Did you?
No, but I love it. Are you kidding? Look at this look. At the gold chain. That's why I have a motorcycle, but you are seated at the piano.
Yeah. There's my first album. I'm sitting on a motorcycle.
Okay.
That's the album cover.
Thank you.
Not my motorcycle.
So Paul, where can people get it who are big fans of yours?
They can get it. A Special Thing Records put it out. So there's a 7-inch out of the 2 songs that are on it. And actually, if you buy the 7-inch, you get the rest of the stand-up album digital download for free.
Every time you say 7-inch, Laura kicks me with that razor between her toes.
I love a Special Thing Records. That they're just great.
They're such cool guys, and they really put out. They put out people that wouldn't get put out. Like, not to say that I wouldn't. I mean, people are.
You're always put out.
You're the creative people.
Paul gets put out. Anyway, sorry, I'm done with that.
Put me out.
No, I can't wait to
We love you.
Turn me out. What are we doing?
And Paul, so are your dates like on Instagram and all that stuff? Like where you'll be performing and all that stuff?
Yeah, I will be. My calendar is looking light right now. I am the kind of guy that is not that driven to book dates, especially on the road. Like, I'm sorry. I love it. I love performing on the road, but I don't like spend that much time alone. It's sort of like there's a lot of factors that don't motivate me to really try to do it. But
I used to say like the short time I was on the road when I had to do morning radio, that's when I talked people out of coming to the show that night and myself like, you know what? I just did a radio thing for the album coming out, and it was the guy was in San Francisco, and I was like, you don't know me, and yet you're like, I don't like people sharing like, oh, let me ask you about yourself. I'm like, what? Why? What are you, I don't like the idea of like creating your brand and having these like things that they ask you about. It just seems so contrived. And I'm like, I'll tell you what, if you're motivated to find a comedian from an interaction like this, I'm not the comedian for you to find. If you're a person that likes comedy but hates comedians, then come to my show. If you loathe Friday night culture, date night, going out, black polo shirt, drinks, then come to my show. If you love getting drunk and going to a comedy club, look,
I'm sorry. You're probably not going to like me. And that's cool.
Yeah.
Who goes to comedy clubs? Every time I perform at one, I'm like, how did you get here? What brought you here? Thank you for paying my bills, but where are you from?
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
The one that was the funniest to me recently is the Levity Live in Oxnard. Mm-hmm. Have you been to this?
Oh yeah.
Where it's a large outdoor mall, the largest outdoor mall I think I've ever seen. Where you need a map to figure out what is what, and all the little fake streets, so quaint. Yuck. And there's like 2 large barbecue restaurants like kitty corner right from each other. Yeah. And I started my set. I'm like, do you guys have a hard time picking which barbecue restaurant you go? You guys have like do you think they have a line? Like, do they hate each other? And they were like, who's this asshole? I'm like, oh, you guys don't consider the minutia of the restaurants in your... All right.
Shout out to, do you know Tuesday Thomas? Tuesday Thomas is a hilarious performer, but you ran a show called Freak Show.
Cool.
Which she somehow got the show at the Oxnard Levity Live place there, the improv or whatever. And it literally is, there's some comedy, but the rest of it is someone who just like hammered a bunch of nails in their fucking nose.
And
there's like blood coming out of him. And then it's like, and please welcome comedy Daniel Webb.
Jesus.
And you're like, someone literally just fucking like hardwired their face.
Well, I always think like, why do we need approval, like, of an audience? If we were to take it apart, would you want those same people? Would you talk to those people at a party? No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't want to sit next to that person at a party.
Someone told me for a wedding, when you're trying to like get the guest list down, that it's like, think of it as spending like $150 on each person. Would you take that person out to dinner?
Wow. Yeah, I like that.
No, I wouldn't take it.
I'll tell you what, this is going to be a very private, intimate affair.
I don't even want to take out my husband for $150.
Yeah, I just want to order in.
Yeah, thank you.
Who wants to put shoes on? We're in love. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what is the collection of like your audience. What is that even? Who are these people?
Well, you don't get to pick your audience. I think that's a lot of it. You really don't.
Yeah, and that's twisted.
Yeah, you got to dance with them that brung you, dude. That's
I
the whole thing.
know.
Paul, what is your Instagram again? Because we have to sign off.
Oh, it's at Paul Danke on everything. It's just at Paul Danke.
Danke.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to spell Paul, you're not worth it.
Then, babe, we're not meant to be.
Paul Danke. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. This is a lot of fun.
Thanks, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.